Hi guys, and welcome to Escape with Watch Reviews. My name is Steve, and today we're going to be reviewing the Martin SN004. So this is a Martin and Watch Dives limited edition. They do sell a version 4 of this, just the Martin version. Has nothing to do with Watch Dive, so I just want you guys to be aware of that before we dive into this. So this is kind of like a version 3.5. So version 1 of the SN004, it was a printed dial, had Mercedes hands, had male end links. I believe version 2 stepped it up to the female end links, and they might have made a change to the crown. Version 3 of this was just a couple different dial options and hand options, and now they had the pencil hands. And then this new version 4 that St. Martin carries, they upgraded to a PT5000. They did an applied dial, and then they have the St. Martin Hex logo, and then they upped the price to like $320. So just keep that in mind as you're watching this. You can apply this review to that SN004 as well, except for the movement. So yeah, I think we should get into this review. The retail price for this watch is $239 US. However, if you use the code ESCAPE10, you'll receive $10 off the retail price. So that's nice to see. The watch comes in 2 different colorways. You have this black dial that you see here, and they also sell this in blue. They also were at one point offering this rivet bracelet as an option. I don't see that on their site, but maybe you can still email them, and if they have some of these in stock, they can fit this one to the watch as well. So just keep that in mind. If you don't get this rivet bracelet, you do get the St. Martin kind of standard 3-link, solid bracelet. It's a good bracelet. It's a really good bracelet, and you'll be happy with it. I just kind of wanted this more vintage look to this watch, so I opted for the rivet bracelet. The watch case of this is made of 3/16 stainless steel. It has a sapphire crystal, a ceramic bezel insert, screw-down crown, screw-down case back, 200 meters of claimed water resistance. It is offered on a stainless steel strap, and it's powered by the Seiko NH35 automatic movement. So I took my time with this review because when I purchased it, I was told that it's a limited edition. It's limited to 100 pieces. Well, I purchased it. It pretty much sold out the next day or 2 days after that, and I figured it was done. But then they restocked. It sold out again. It restocked again, and then they made a blue dial version, and that one sold out. And they're in the middle of restocking that one. So, yeah, I think this one is going to be around for a little bit longer, so I figured it was time to get to this review. So before we do a quick wrist check today, wearing the Vario trench. This is the Medic version 40mm case. Really cool, interesting watch. And yeah, the review for that will be on the channel pretty soon. Yeah, let's get to the dimensions. So the dimensions on this are really nice. You've got a bezel diameter of 39.1. You've got a case diameter of 38.1. You've got a thickness of 13.2. Got a lug width of 20 millimeters. Bracelet tapers down to 16 and then back up to 18 at the clasp. And an overall lug tip to lug tip of 45.3, and sized up for my 7.5-inch wrist. It weighs about 135 grams. So a very nice set of dimensions on this watch. 38 by 46, 135 grams. I mean, this thing just wears great. You can see nice side profile of the thin mid case here, a little bit of turn down. I think it looks great. I think it wears great. So I'm going to go outside right now and throw it on my wrist for you. And here we are on my 7.5-inch wrist. And as you can see, I mean, the compact lug to lug, just the overall profile of this thing just wears great. Very happy with it. It is a fairly flat case, but because it's so short, not really a big deal. Get the female end link, so it hugs the wrist really nicely. Feels nice and balanced on wrist too. Very happy with that. But yeah, this thing just wears great. It wears so well. Lots of play off the crystal, off the bezel insert. I think it looks really good though. Getting it out in some direct sunlight here, you can see plenty of anti-reflective coating on it. It does a good job of cutting down glare, even though this is like my least favorite type of crystal. But yeah, it does a pretty good job. You can see here there's a little bit of sparkle to the dial too, so it's not just a simple painted dial. It looks really good. Very happy with it. And yeah, I mean, what else is there to say? It looks really good. I like it. Let's go throw it on some straps and we'll get back to the review. And here we are on a Vario vintage leather strap. I think this thing goes perfect. Black leather on a dive watch. Kind of got some tan stitching to match the Fotina. I think that looks really good. What do you guys think? yeah, that looks good. I got some more straps to throw it on though, so let's get to it. Here we are on a suede strap. This is from On the Level, I believe, their store on AliExpress. I'll leave a link for this down below. I think that looks really good. That's going to be my my fall setup, I think. That looks awesome. Yeah, what do you guys think? Alright, let's go throw it on some more strap. And here we are on a vintage, I don't even know what this is, Rally Silicone Tropic Rally, I don't know, from Strapsco. Really nice strap, actually, very soft and flexible. I think it looks pretty cool. It'll give me some funny tan lines, but that's alright. It looks cool. What do you guys think? And here we are on a modified nylon strap. There used to be 2 layers, now 1 layer, so it's elastic. And yeah, I definitely would not recommend anyone go buy this, so I'm not even going to link it. You can see the paint on the strap there. It doesn't go down the middle, so yeah, definitely pass if you see this one. But yeah, it does look pretty good on this, kind of an olive drab with the red stripe. I think that looks pretty good. What do you guys think? We can go throw one more strap on it and we'll get back. And lastly, here we are on a ribbed nylon strap, 2 layers underneath the watch there. I think that looks great. These are from CNS Straps Co. or something like that now. I'll be leaving their link down below. They just changed names because of a patent troll, if you aren't aware. So yeah, just be aware of that. But yeah, this does look really good. I think the Fotina, the gold, and the brown, I think that just looks awesome. What do you guys think? Now let's go back inside and we'll get back to the review. Alright, so let's talk about the case finishing. So case finishing on this watch is very good. You've got a brushed finish on the top of the lugs here, as you can see right there. You've got a horizontal brushing along the case sides here. Same on the other side, horizontal brushing. You got a sign crown. So now they do offer this with the St. Martin hex crown. This is an older version. So that's nice to see that they upgraded that. You've got really nice polish transition from the brush to the brush. Really nice, really sharp, very clean. I mean, just a really nice sharp transition on that chamfer. Very happy with that. I mean, just look at that. That's really, really good. Very happy with the case finishing on this. Flipping it over to the case back, you've got your typical sterile case back in this kind of coin edge style. Not my favorite type of case back. Very plain, circular brushing on the case back itself, circular brushing on the bottom of the lugs. It's very simple, very plain, but kind of what I expected from this watch. So overall, with the case finishing, I mean, they did a really good job. Those transitions from the top to the sides, really nice and crisp. The polishing, as minimal as it is done really nicely as well. I mean, it's great. Very happy with it. Yeah, let's talk about the bezel. So let's talk about the bezel itself, and then we'll talk about the bezel action. So the bezel itself, so you got a black ceramic bezel insert, really nice engraved numerals, engraved markings, filled with gold paint. It's a decent match. It doesn't match perfectly to the dial, but it is close enough. I think my studio lights are making it appear a bit more orange than it really is. In real life, it's not that bad, and I think it is a pretty good match to the dial. I do like this nice red triangle on the bezel. I think that's a nice touch with this model. I believe the regular ones just use a orange filled, and that is a lumed pip there at the 12 o'clock, so that's nice to see as well. No other lume on the dial, but that's not a big issue in my opinion. One thing that people kind of tend to miss on this watch is this polished ring between the bezel insert and the crystal. Really interesting. I'm not sure why they did that, but it doesn't look bad at all. It's just something that I've seen missed on a couple reviews, so I just wanted to point that out. The bezel teeth themselves are done really nicely. You got a polish on the outside, kind of a bead blasted in between. I mean, they look great. Really, really nice. I mean, just the finishing on these watches, it surprises me. Every time I get the macro lens out and look really close like this, I mean, that finishing just surprises me every time. Very nicely done. Plenty of grip on that bezel. So let's talk about the bezel action. So it is perfect. As close to perfect as I've seen so far. I think the grip is really good. The resistance is really good. It's a 120 click unidirectional. You can see here there's absolutely no play. I mean, I'm rocking it pretty hard and it's not moving at all. So I mean, it's just rock solid. 120 click unidirectional. Really deep, crisp sounding. I mean, they just sound quality. This reminds me a lot of the Christopher Ward Trident 300 that I reviewed. I think that's what it was. The Christopher Ward dive watch that I reviewed. Yeah, I think the bezel on this thing it's as good as anything I've had. I'm not really sure what I would change to make it better. I'll say that it's just really good. Yeah, let's test this thing for sapphire. You can see it is positive for sapphire, and the crystal on this is kind of a mixed bag. It's probably my least favorite setup of a crystal, and that's a single dome. So it's flat on the bottom, curved on the top, and that's why you get some of this distortion here, which I think the distortion looks really good. But then there's times where you can see my light there, and then you get that right there. That's also a reflection of the light. So you kind of get double reflections on these single dome crystals. They've put a ton of blue AR on it, and that does help quite a bit, but it's still not my favorite. I'd rather have a double dome or just a flat one. So yeah, the glare on this is a little bit of an issue. I think I might replace this crystal eventually. It hasn't bothered me enough that I want to get it and do it right away. But I think eventually down the line, it's going to annoy me enough that I'm going to want to change it out. But it is a pretty decent crystal, I'll say that. You can see here, it sits above the bezel, slightly domed. You got lots and lots of distortion at the high angles there. Looking really good. Overall, though, it is also a magnifying crystal, so it makes the dial appear just a little bit bigger, which I do like and appreciate. So it's a decent crystal. It's not a highlight of the watch for sure. It's probably the low point of the watch. But even then, it's still not terrible. Okay, so let's talk about the dial on this thing. So we'll get real close and talk about the dial. It is a matte black dial. It's not just a simple painted black dial, which is nice. It's kind of got like a little bit of a little speck flake kind of shimmer to it a little bit. It's a really cool dial, especially out in the sun. I think you saw that in the wrist shots, but it's a nice dial, nicely done. You got a deep triangle at 12 o'clock there. All other indices are applied, really nicely applied too, nice and tall indices. Very happy with those. I think it looks really good. The hand color and the dial color on this model, I think they match almost perfectly. Very, very happy with that. You've got a printed minute track around the outside in gold. All other branding is in gold. You've got just simple automatic down here, and then you do have the printed San Martin hex there, which I'm a big fan of. The rehout on this thing is actually it's actually part of the dial. It's really interesting. They do show some of this dial outside of the watch, and it's actually a separate part that kind of comes off the dial. It covers up the brushed metal of an actual rehout and just uses this dial colored chapter ring basically, but without any minute markings on it. It's a really interesting look. It kind of makes it look like the dial's just kind of floating there. I like it. I know some people don't like it, but I do like it, and it's just one of those little touches that kind of sets this apart from some of the other watches. The handset on this, very nicely done. No faceting or anything like that, but nice and crisp and clean. You can see it's all gilt or gold. Her second hand reaches right out to the minute track. Same with the minute hand. I think the proportions on this dial and the handset is just spot on. I don't think they could really improve it at all. The lume on this thing, I'm going to pop up a lume shot right now, and here you can see it is pretty good lume. It's this Fotina lume, so it doesn't last as long as some of the other watches, but it does do a pretty good job. Holds on. I can still read it in the middle of the night. It's not as legible as the SN004, but it is still fully legible even at 5 o'clock in the morning with my eyes adjusted to the dark. I can still read it, so it's not a big negative in my opinion. I think it's a solid application of lume. It just could be a little bit better, but that's kind of expected with the Fotina. All right, so let's talk about the movement in this thing. So movement is operated by this 3 o'clock screw down crown. Like I mentioned, I think they've upgraded this to the St. Martin hex. So screw down crown, nice action on the crown. I do find that I kind of catch the bottom side of the bezel with my thumb, so it's not the most comfortable thing to unscrew, but it does have plenty of grip. It's a good size, I think. Nice smooth threading. Very happy with that. First position, hand winds the movement. Second position, there is a ghost date. I can hear it clicking around back there. And then third position, hacks the movement. So it is the Seiko NH35. The winding action, everything there, I mean, it just works as you would expect. Hand winds, it hacks 21,600 beats per hour, 40 hours of power reserve. It's cheap, it's reliable, it's accurate. Here's how mine has been running. I don't even know what it's been running. I haven't tested it because it seems like it's pretty much spot on for me. So very happy with the movement in this watch. I'm glad they kind of kept the price low with this one instead of putting the PT5000. That would have put it out of reach for a lot of people, I think. So yeah, I'm very happy with the NH35 in this watch. And yeah, I can hope they continue to use them. I would prefer them to upgrade this to the NH38 so there's not a ghost date. That's really my only gripe with this. Okay, so let's talk about the bracelet. So like I mentioned, this is the rivet bracelet. This is an option. I would just write them and ask them if you can get this, if you do want it. I will say this is a pain in the butt to size, but it's one of those things where you do it once. You know, it took me a good half an hour to size this thing. I'm just going to say that. Usually they're typical 3-link bracelets with the screw pins. They take me about 3 minutes to size. This one took me a good 30 minutes to get it right. So just keep that in mind. But it's one of those things where I think the look of it kind of outweighs the negatives of resizing it. So that's just me. If you don't opt for this one, you do get kind of your standard San Martin 3-link bracelet, and it's a really good one. But we're going to talk about this one here. So you do have solid links, solid end links, female links there. You can see these are screw adjustments, but you got screws on both sides here. Really nice brushing, I would say. I'm very happy with that. It's a very comfortable bracelet. Definitely more comfortable than their typical 3-link bracelet, in my opinion. The end link fitment on this watch is just perfect, in my opinion, or as close to perfect as you can get. Really happy with that. It looks good. It feels nice and solid and tight in there. Very happy with that. Working our way down to the clasp here, you can see it's your typical San Martin clasp. It's brushed on the top, brushed on the sides, nice chamfer along the other sides there. It really kind of flows well with this watch. Very happy with it. 4 levels of micro adjust, just your 2 pushers here. The intersection of the watch is fully milled. Really nice tight tolerances in here too, so no issues opening and closing. I've had this clasp in a lot of watches. I'm happy with it. I like it. I've got no issues with it at all. There's no on the fly adjustment. That's kind of my only negative, but I think the clasp is good enough and comfortable enough that it kind of gets a pass there. Otherwise, though, I think the bracelet is good. I'm pretty happy with it. I know, people warned me that this thing was going to be a pain to adjust. I went for it anyway because I think it just kind of complements the look of this watch. I think it looks great. But if you do go for just the nice, clean 3-link bracelet, you're going to be happy with it. I will say, I forgot to mention that these are actual separate little pieces here on the bracelet, the little metal caps here. Those are separate pieces. So it is a 5-link bracelet, not a 3-link. So just something to note, but it is very comfortable. I think they've honed this bottom edge down a lot better than their typical 3-link bracelets. And yeah, I'm very happy with the bracelet on this thing. I've got no issues with it. So there you go, guys. That is the San Martin SN004. This is the limited edition one with watch dives. They also sell this in a version 4 on their official site for $320 or so with a PT5000 and Mercedes hands. Otherwise, I think it's pretty much exactly the same. You have applied dial or applied indices on the dial. I don't think the red triangle, but everything else is pretty much spot on. So if you don't like the snowflake hands, or you don't like something about this watch, and maybe you want a PT5000, they do have that option, which is nice to see. So I will be leaving a link for the watch dives version down below, and I'll also leave a link for the St. Martin version down below if you want to check that one out. Otherwise, though, yeah, this is a great watch, probably the best homage of this watch that you're going to find. I'm not going to say what it's homaging. Hopefully you guys know. Just based on the size alone. I mean, there's nothing else out there that looks like this that's in this size. And they just nailed it. I'm so happy that they nailed it. Yeah, go check them out. Watch dives. Use that coupon code ESCAPE10. Save yourself $10. Get this thing before they're all sold out. I'm really not sure how many they're going to make. So act fast, I guess. I think that's pretty much it. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.